Klishchivka and Andriivka were liberated by the Ukrainian armed forces, and a powerful fireworks display occurred in Crimea this week, despite the lies of the Russian Ministry of Defense about the successful operation of the air defense. In general, the racist lie is the only thing that wins on all fronts. Cave metropolises are groaning from orgastic discos and death festivities, and embittered military officers are squealing that Goda is dead, there is a meat grinder at the front, and someone will soon hang someone for betraying the mother cave. The first to be hanged on poles will be those who assured that everything was under control, writes Meat. And then the main question is, who will hang them? That is, it understands that it can disappear in a meat grinder at any moment, and others will dispose of the parquet sycophants. Possibly Ukrainian armed forces fighters. And maybe even NATO forces. Even Shoigu threw up his hands. Who the hell knows whether we'll win or not? Against the backdrop of Putin's deadly negotiations with the North Korean when the dictator's rhetoric has become tougher. The hint of a break with the oligarchs who left and the hidden threat against them through highlighting the figure of Chubey, who once brought Putin to power, is transferring the regime inside the cave into a state of total war. Red dictatorships are constantly fighting defectors and internal enemies. This is the second time in the past year that China's defense minister has fallen out of favor, although he had recently visited Moscow. Now the former head of the PRC Defense Department, Li Shangfu, according to US intelligence, has been arrested and is under investigation. Putin doesn't really understand much, preferring to remove those he doesn't like, indicatively, but elegantly. Suffice it to recall Berezovsky, strangled with a scarf on the anniversary of the assassination of Paul I. Revenge is a dish that Putin serves piping cold. So the ghost of an ice pick named after Trotsky loomed not only before Chubey, but also before Avon, Friedman, Volozh and other persons involved, who from now on may become open stakeholders in the matter of beheading the bald dictator. Because the threat of loss of capital is one thing, and quite another thing is life, which is one, and for the sake of which all this good was acquired. Putin and Erdogan have a problem. The Turkish side does not want to let Putin's team manage the gas hub, and therefore the project is on the verge of failure. The US Treasury also announced sanctions against several Turkish companies for helping Russia circumvent sanctions. These are shipping and trading companies that provide assistance to Russian ships in repairs and other services, as well as supply dual-use goods to the Russian Federation. To silence the propaganda barking that is still coming from Ostankino, Lithuania has decided to block 53 IP addresses that provide access to major Russian television programs that are prohibited from broadcasting in the country. And the cave itself at this time is preparing for a total blockade. Hosting companies will be forced to participate in FSB exercises to disconnect from the global internet, forcing them to also connect to the state system controlled by the FSB. The tentacles of comprehensive special control have already entangled the cave and there is no force that could resist them. And judging by the regime's meticulous preparation for the period of holding power, it can be assumed that the amplitude of the swing of the structure will be serious. In the backwaters of the collectors, they whisper that the idea of total mobilization is so unpopular that it could overthrow the throne along with the bald man. And it's not a fact that the falling one will not be pushed by the environment, tired of maneuvering between sanctions from the West and the holdouts from the FSB. As we announced, August crawled into September, and the re-establishment of Putin's servants in the regions did not strengthen the situation. Having grown its roots into power, the lads force in the future to tear it out by roots and cruel bloodshed, leaving no other way out. And the deeper the Ukrainian armed forces bite into the defense lines of the occupiers, the more clearly the specter of defeat appears, causing panic in the Kremlin. Deripaska is already whining about the fact that he does not understand where the country is moving, afraid to admit to himself that it is no longer moving, but is going to hell together with bandits and their victims, with zigging scum and a few righteous people, of whom there are probably it's a pity, but not enough to spare the others with them. The Public Opinion Foundation records the Olympic calm of Russians. This is happening against the backdrop of serious problems in the financial sector and the country's economy, a significant rise in prices and a decline in living standards. Organisms reassure themselves that they cannot change or influence anything. So they hide from problems behind a mask of external calm. And the capital's parties dance desperately before death, and the shaman howls heart-rendingly from the stage, trying to drown out the steps of the cave commander, from whom no one can hide.